You're relaxed. Look at you.
I look clean, but you got the better house.
Are you at home?
No, this is actually, we have a studio in our office, which looks kind of cool.
It is cool. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. How about give us a quick sound check and we'll get running?
Yes, I'm looking forward to this very much. You're renowned, and I'm looking at this as an honor.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
I can't. Yeah, that works perfect for me.
Okay.
All right, let me get into this.
A little exaggerated for me, but
Yeah.
I'm well known for exaggeration.
A little bit, just a tad. Welcome back to Under Oath. I can't tell you what I've got going on right now. It's amazing.
Yes, you can.
Actor, singer, songwriter, pulp culture mega icon, William Shatner.
Me.
I got to tell you, you're doing a tour now called Wrath of Khan, where you're showing the movie and then you get out there and talk for about an hour.
Yes.
I actually went. I went to your show you did in Melbourne. I took about 3 to 5 people. And let me tell you this, not only did it bring me back to such a great time when I first saw Wrath of Khan, but watching you on stage for an hour, deliver for an hour to this whole audience was fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, every so often a renewal of faith from some member of the audience is very desirable because the impulse to do this started with somebody in Australia asking me to do a one-man show. And I've been to these actors who have done a one-man show, and it's an extremely difficult, complex event. No other entertainment, no other impulse to amuse you, simply the actor on stage performing in front of an audience. And it goes right back to the original reason actors and audience were together. It was in Grecian times, it was considered a religious event. And this mystical thing would happen between the performer and I don't know what they called them, but they may have been, priests and people of the particular religion saying something important to the audience. But there was always this idea of a mystical connection between the actor and the audience. And I have felt it in innumerable times being on stage. I did a one-man show on Broadway for a limited run. And, that thing that happens between an actor and an audience, if you can achieve it, it's like, what is it called? A feedback loop?
Yeah.
Where one engages the other and then each loop enhances the other. An example of that would have been, so I was on tour and I'd gotten to England and the Apollo Theatre in London, a famous theater and 3,500 seat capacity house. And purportedly it was filled. But that morning when I got up, I somehow, again, who knows why, I was on the station where the Prime Minister, I think it was Boris Johnson, said there cannot be any meetings more than 10 people because of COVID. There's a new announcement Monday morning, and I'm on stage Monday evening at the Apollo Theatre. So when I got to the Apollo Theatre, I hadn't been told whether the audience that was supposed to be there dissipated or not. And when I came out in front of the curtain, as the curtain went up, and I went out front, every one of those 3,500 people were still there, cheering and laughing. And it was such an emotional night where people, for the first time, braving this unknown disease, they didn't know that it was not going to kill them or it was going to kill them. 3,500 people stood by, and it was the most remarkable evening. And some months later, maybe even years, recently, I was in front of an audience and I was saying this thing that happened at the Apollo Theatre, and some woman shouted, "I was there." And I said, well, am I exaggerating a distant memory? No, it was fabulous, she said. And I was renewed because sometimes you think, am I making that up? Am I the only one feeling this? Is this mystical connection like they're bored and I'm all excited? No, it was real.
You had a couple thousand people, and the MC was an actual astronaut from NASA, and he was asking you questions, and you were just killing it for 55 minutes. And I do stand up, and I do a 55-minute set, and I know how exhausting it is. And I was amazed watching you, going, I cannot believe he is doing this. And it was open, it was humorous, it was funny, and thousands of people were sitting there leaning forward in their chairs at every word you said. That just must be so humbling.
There is such a connection between stand-up and this, what I do. In essence, what I'm doing is stand-up, but it isn't one joke after another. And you've pared this thing down both in your bedroom and on your toilet and in front of an audience. You've pared it down to the essence of what the joke should be. There shouldn't be, and to professionals like yourself, there isn't a extraneous word. Any word that doesn't apply to the forward movement of that joke is extraneous, should be edited out. So the next evening, wait a minute, I did say and. I don't need to say and you cut the and out of your that forward driving sentence, and the joke is much better. On the other hand, I have been on stage where I thought, it's when I twisted my head. That was what got the laugh. So every evening on stage, as I'm going to do that, and the laugh would come. And God, that's interesting. I'm twisting my head. And one day I didn't do it, and the laugh was there anyway. And it wasn't me at all. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
Hey, I got to balance on that word. I got to say that word in this way because that's funny. And one evening, your timing is off. You don't do it, and the laugh is there anyway. And you've been straining to do something that was totally unnecessary.
You don't know. I mean, that's the whole thing. Why did they laugh at that moment? You go, should I hold that joke an extra 10 seconds? Should I drag it out a little more? You never know.
And what the audience doesn't understand is that a laugh is as delicate as a dandelion thing floating on the air. A laugh, somebody coughing at the wrong moment in the audience can obliterate the laugh. It's such a delicate thing. Yeah. I was in a play. I was directing the play and being in it, and I said to one of my actors, when there's a laugh there. He said, no, there's no. I said, no, I heard somebody laugh. Last week somebody laughed when you went. But I think maybe it's how you do the whistle. He says, Bill, there's no laugh there. So I kept saying, there is a laugh. Keep trying and trying. And one day he went, and I don't remember how he did it. And the laugh was there. It had been born. Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah.
Unknown laugh, like out of the left field, and gratifying. And then you try and repeat it and try too hard, and it's not good, and it's gone. It's ephemeral.
Sometimes it's like magic in a bottle. You release it, and you can never get it back. And when that happens, you just have to let it go. You're going, I think it's brilliant, but I don't know how it happened.
Well, yeah, but you experiment for weeks at a time. So where did it go? It's really interesting how delicate, no matter whether it's a belly laugh, whether it's built into the words, the situation, your subject. Sometimes, a lot of times, a laugh, the volume of the laugh, the quality of the laugh differs, and you don't know why.
It's sometimes it works. The pause works. The way you turn around, you break all the rules. You show the audience your back sometimes, and they think that's funny. I mean, you just never know. But what I tried to figure something out when I found out I was interviewing you. I also write comic books, so I see a lot of conventions, and I've seen you at conventions. And I was trying to figure out how many hundreds of thousands of photos you've taken with people. I mean, hundreds of thousands.
A lot. In that would have been 1970, somewhere in the 70s. A lady who was a fan, I think she might have grasped the concept. Or how are we doing for time, by the way?
You take as
We got,
much time as you want. I work for you.
well, I got yeah. I'm doing a whole tour
Yeah.
here. I'm sure somebody will break in if I've overcome the time. A lady who was a fan, one of those great fans that are there all the time, not so obtrusive, but are there. I've forgotten her name. She, on the basis of a comic book convention, said, "Why don't we do a Star Trek convention?" And she organized it in a New York hotel. And apparently, there were 15,000 people who'd come to see, I guess, me. And now I had to go out in front of the curtain and do. I said, "Well, what do I talk about?" They said, "Well, just." I said, "But what's the subject? I'm an actor. Or there's no lines. What am I going? Hello, and then what? You know." And that evolved exactly. That evolved into these conventions that are omnipresent anywhere you look. But I try to go to the more important conventions and spend an hour or more with the audience doing what you and I are doing right now.
It's
This
amazing.
is like
It's
convention.
amazing.
I mean, I'm interested in what you're saying, and you, from the way you look, you're
Yeah.
interested in what I'm saying, and that's what I did. So in front of 15,000 people, the actor's nightmare is you go out and you're naked and you don't have anything to say. That's the actor's nightmare, and I was facing the actor's nightmare, except I was wearing a jockstrap, and it just. It went well, and then it continued to improve. So my joy in these conventions that I go to with some continuity is this hour or hour and a half I spend in front of the audience talking, and then I've begun to turn the questions around. What's your favorite episode? So, well, what's yours? Why do you ask that question? What do you want to know? And begin a conversation that frequently ends up into such insight into the individual asking the question that the whole audience recognizes that this person has revealed a truth about themselves, a beautiful truth about themselves, inadvertently in answering my questions. And it becomes a beautiful game. And that's what my great interest in going to conventions is, to spending that hour with people.
It's meaningful. When people get even a second of your life, it touches them in ridiculous ways. I've talked to people all over who go, "Yeah, I got to take a picture with," and literally it is a tentpole in their life that you gave them. And it's amazing.
Yes. I mean, I hate to admit that a life can be so pitiful that you or me are the tentpole. You'd want them to have a neat building that they could enter in and out of that tent. It's a tent is such a temporary abode that their lives are not as rich as they should be, I guess.
Entertainment is huge for people. Aristotle said it's the opportunity for us to empty our glasses, to release the crap of our day. And whether it be you, me, or somebody else, it's an honorable thing to be able to do. And
it is, if it's done well.
Yeah. And you've done it for everything you've been in. I went through it all, and I've seen most of it. And I'm just glad that you decided not to move forward with your Bachelor of Economics. That's all I got to say.
My father at the time would not have agreed with you. He said, "You're going to be a hanger-on." And I thought, I don't know what hanger-on means. Did you ever think of doing anything else?
Yeah. But
what did you do?
I've been a lawyer. I've been a radio show host. And you know what? I think as long as you keep taking your shots, no matter what you're doing to pay the bills, you'll find happiness.
Yeah. Well, if you're paying your bills independently, you're not taking money from unemployment or from some relative, if you're living earnestly and honestly on your own, no matter what you're doing, that in itself is an accomplishment.
Well, I appreciate it. Bill, it's been fantastic. You're going to be in Florida August 2nd and August 3rd. Please, everyone, go out and see him. It's a very special thing.
Where am I going to be?
You're in Pensacola August 2nd, and you're in Orange Park August 3rd.
Perfect. I'll see your audience there, and hopefully you yourself. By the way, just before I go, I'm doing it with a film, the Wrath of Kant,
Yep.
refurbished, reworked, the sound, the color, and then I come on stage afterwards and spend an hour talking to you about a variety of things.
Take well and have a great day, Bill.